Hi, it's the Lipstick Gal. Thank you so much for watching today. Another one of those if I could only keep 10, and today it's cheek products. I love cheek products. Like second probably to lip products, cheek products are the things that I use the most and appreciate the most because they bring so much vibrancy to my fair skin. Without a little bit of color, I can look like a corpse. I can look like a sheet of paper. So I love me a good cheek product. Now, on my lazy days, I will take whatever I'm wearing on my lips and I'm good to go. I have a larger collection than the average makeup lover and enthusiast, but I don't have so large a collection that, you know, I have like 3 dozen bronzers or 3 dozen blushes. I don't have that many. I try and make sure that I don't over purchase in those categories, and I decided instead of doing like creams and powders, I would smush everything together, bronzer, highlight, blush, all 3 categories, all those things together, and pick out the things I could not move on without. So there are 10 of those, and they're from all 3 of those categories, like 10 total, and they cover 3 different genres. And then I have 2 honorable mentions. Let me just start with cream products, creams and liquids. There are some beautiful formulas that have really, really impressed me. And the one that I've had the longest and the one that I have used so much, every time I use it, I'm like, oh, it's so good. Oh, I need to use this more, is this guy. This is a cream from Rituel to Fille. This is their Color Nectar Pigment Balm, and this is the shade Bloodflower. It looks really dark in the pan, but it's not. My favorite thing about this is probably too much for my cheeks, is putting on just a little bit of this and blending it out gives you that perfect, especially if you are fair, gives you that beautiful kind of in from the cold look. I know that cold girl like makeup trend is definitely everywhere. I'm, probably missed the boat on that. But the truth is I've always loved that look of like you just came in and it was a cold and snowy day, but look how pretty this is. The other thing that I love about this is that there are times that I will do this on the cheeks and then I will wear it like this on my lips, and it's so comfortable and it's so easy and it's so like effortless. And because it is kind of monochromatic, same color in 2 places, it looks stunning. This would be the shade in Bloodflower that I would be kind of bereft without. This is like my favorite red shade, and it doesn't work just on the cheeks. It works basically anywhere on the face. Let's just keep going with blush. Blush is probably next to lipstick my second favorite makeup item. I love a good blush so much. A child of the 80s for sure. The other 3 that I have for you are powders, but the formulas are absolutely stunning. I have always loved a powder blush. I love the ease of a powder blush, but especially on a work day. I work 3 days a week as a dental assistant, and I'm forever in and out of a mask at work. And I'm going to continue to be wearing a mask, and it doesn't matter whether, our pandemic situation is better. That's just like my daily now. So I'm always looking for things that have that ability to not transfer creams like this, transfer off onto my mask at work. So I like to use a fully set face of makeup and a setting spray. And this right here, this formula from M Cosmetics is one of my favorites. I realized out of all the powder blushes I have more of these. I have 5 of these Heaven's Glow Baked Blushes. These are radiant. They have a really beautiful, almost like a highlighty look. This is the lightest one they make. This is the shade Baroque. It's very warm, it's very neutral, and it has some radiance, but not so much that it turns into like a streaky bar of highlight. I like that this brings a little bit of warmth. So especially since it's kind of like a warm color, there are days that I'm not wearing anything except this blush, and the warmth gives me a little bit of contour and draping, and then a little bit of that shimmer from the radiance baked into this product. The other thing that I really like about this, so I feel like I have bronzer, blush, and highlight all kind of in one little package. The other thing that's great about this is this formula is created to help reduce the look of pores. It's a blurring formula. And I feel like the older I get, the more I appreciate it. I just had my 48th birthday. I do a lot of work here at home with skincare. I use an LED light mask. I wear my SPF daily. I don't have any procedures done. You know, I've never had anything else done, but I do really look and try to make sure that my skincare is doing the bulk of my heavy lifting so that I'm not dealing with texture, that I'm not dealing with large pores. But I do have right here, like, you know, I'm almost 50. I do have crow's feet. And what's interesting is I would think that something that is, you know, a little glowy like this might sit poorly here. I don't feel like it does. And it could be the way that I like to wear makeup and the look that I'm going for. This is beautiful. But this specific shade in this specific formula is the one out of all 5 of them and everything else in my collection that I do not think I could do without. I love these Heaven's Glow blushes. If you've never tried them, they're totally worth your time, but do remember they are a little radiant. The next blush formula that really has stolen my heart, and I'm surprised I don't have more than just 2 of these, is this. This is the Divine Blush from Pat McGrath. And my favorite and most reached for shade is this one right here. This one's called Fleurtatious. This is what it looks like. The reason that I love this blush so much is because I frequently overblush. I don't intend to, but I love blush so much. The next thing I know, I walk into natural light and I feel like a clown, like I have clown cheeks going on. And this shade right here really keeps me from over blushing. This is more of a matte formula. It doesn't have the same radiance that you get from this or the glow you get from the cream. It's a little bit more matte, but there is a little bit of a satin lean to this. There are some of these that have a little bit of shimmer into them, and I have a different shade that's more kind of peach leaning but has some gold sparkle throughout. I find this really is more matte in appearance, but this shade right here in Fleurtatious, you can see it does have a little bit of slight radiance. And it's a really built up heavy swatch here, but when you take a brush and you lightly fluff it on the cheek, it's just enough color and not too much. And that little bit of satin quality or that slight radiant lean doesn't make it look glowy or highlighty the way the one from M does. It makes it look like your skin. It's stunning. I really love these formulas from Pat McGrath. I have to keep telling myself, you have the 2 that are perfect for you. Don't buy any more, because every time she releases a new color, I was like, and I realize I have so many cheek products. I need to use what I have. But this is one that when, not if, but when I hit pan, I'm getting another one. This is gorgeous. I can't imagine my collection without this. On the days that I have a really bold eye and I can't have something heavy on the cheek, I reach for this. On the days that I want to look like I'm hardly wearing any makeup and it's very, very light placement, I'll reach for this. This is so pretty. Even like in the crease of the eye, this big, gorgeous, gorgeous shade. Fleurtatious is my fave. This last product, I think these were new for 2022. And I was like, I'm not gonna get one. I'm not gonna get one. And then guess what I did? I bought me one of these cute little Gucci blushes. They are so beautiful. I have shade number 5 called Rosy Beige. Okay, there is a little, and this is interesting. I feel like I definitely have a type because every single one of these has a small to maybe larger amount of radiance in the formula. It's not a complete flat powdery matte. This right here is Rosy Beige. It's similar to this. I feel like this one's a little bit lighter. This one has a little bit more rose tone to it, but this is called their Radiant Matte Blush. And I'm like, wow, that's a really good description because it is really a matte product. You can see it by looking at it in the pan. There is no real shine to this, but when you look at it here, it has a really pretty skin-like quality. And I feel like, especially when you don't have a heavy swatch like this, because I'm not digging my finger in here and putting a swipe on my cheek, there is something about this that with a fluffy brush lightly swept onto the skin, I can use just this product and it makes my skin look amazing. It wears really well all day long. It looks very natural on the skin. It doesn't look like I have powder sitting on my face. I feel like all of these formulas have that going for it. It brings life, but it's not too heavy, so I don't look like I'm leaving the circus. These are the 4 blushes I could not do without in my collection. Let's talk highlight. Highlight is one of those things that I can't do without. And I have different types of highlights for different types of looks, but I wear highlight almost every day. I'm past the point, since I'm almost 50, that I want a really harsh highlight. I want it to look glowy. I want it to look pretty, even sometimes really kind of like, oh, that's very glowy, but I never want it to look like a stripe. I never want it to accentuate any of the texture I have right along here with my crow's feet. I am losing elasticity in my skin. I do feel like I have a decrease in collagen, but I still want my skin to look kind of beautiful and glowy. And my favorite top product, and I don't even have it, I have like its sister, is this. This is the Elevated Glow from Lisa Eldridge. My favorite one is Crystal Nebula. I finished up Crystal Nebula. I had it, I loved it, and I have two more shades. This one here is Pink Moon. This is probably my second go-to. I keep telling myself to finish up the two that I have before I go back and repurchase Crystal Nebula, but do you see how glowy and hydrated and glassy the skin looks without looking glittery, without looking shimmery? And this is a really heavy swatch. If I were to continue to like rub it into my hand, it just goes to like really pretty, healthy skin. This is what I live for. Now, the downside of this is it is a liquid. So I like to do my foundation, you know, set my under eye lightly with powder, tap this in here, because when I put this over a cream or a liquid blush, I find that this can sometimes break it down because it is really glowy and it is really emollient. It does come with this kind of chunky doe foot. There is a lot of product that gets up here, but I always use everything there is. The other thing that I really like about Pink Moon, and this is a beautiful shade, is that it is a little bit lighter, but I feel like the glow from this is a little bit less than the one from Crystal Nebula. Crystal Nebula shines almost like a mirror, but not in a weird way, not like a alien way, not like a, you know, what is going on with your skin way. It's just beautiful. This one is the lightest out of all of them. I thought that maybe Pink Moon would be my new favorite because it is made for fairer skin. But I realized that there is something, and I don't know if it's the amount of pearls in Crystal Nebula, but I prefer that one over this one. But I don't have it to show you because I'm trying to be good and not purchase when I have two more of these. Like this one, I'm about a third of the way through. And I do have another one in Cosmic Rose, which is a little bit more pink leaning and a little bit deeper. But these are beautiful. You can use these as like a primer. You can use these like right just for a glow right here. You can mix this in with your foundation if you want a slightly glowy base. Like there's a lot of ways to use this. I love this product, but my favorite is the one that I don't have at the moment, Crystal Nebula. But Pink Moon, oh, so pretty and really gorgeous on more mature skin. Another product that I absolutely love, and I'm surprised because I don't reach for it as often as I think I should, is this. This is the light one, the Beauty Light one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the lightest shade, and this is the shade Spotlight. I mean, look at that. It looks like hardly anything, and then boom. It's so gorgeous. It's so reflective. And another one of those products, you know, being that it is a liquid, I mean, this is definitely a step up. This looks like healthy glowing skin, and this is like highlight, and I love that about this. But this is such a beautiful product. There are other options out there for this. I know Tarte came out with some. I know Flower Beauty came out with some. I've tried the one from Beauty Pie, and because it only comes in one shade, it's too deep for my skin tone. It always looks like I have a little stripe of color here. But if you love this product and you don't want to pay this, what, almost $40 price point, try some of the other ones. But I still have plenty of this. I really feel like Charlotte kind of pioneered something new, and so many people are making their own version of it with this type of kind of squeezy tube product with a cushion on the end. But for me, this is the perfect shade. This does come in multiple shades. So if you have a deeper skin tone than I do, they have shades for fair skin, which is Spotlight. They have shades for light medium, medium tan, you know, tan deep and dark. Like they have everything covered. I think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous product. And for me, it is worth the price. And it wears well, doesn't accentuate my texture that I have on my cheeks from wrinkles or from pores, but it just looks like beautiful skin. Now, I have over the last couple of years preferred a more liquid or cream highlight to powder highlights. And then something happened and I fell in love with this new highlight from Rare. All right, this right here is the Positive light Silky Touch highlight. I've not tried the liquid version of this, but this is the powder version. This is the one that's kind of like, I mean, look at that. This is the one that is more of the rose gold tone. It's right here. This one's called Mesmerize. This shade right here, this one in Mesmerize, like you can see that it is too dark for my skin tone, but I kind of take it a little lower, more in blush territory, always layer it over a blush, but it's so stunning. The one thing I'll tell you is that I always, when I'm wearing this, because it can be kind of an aggressive glow, you see how it's a little bit less here because I've taken the time to buff it in. I always buff this in. Now, some people say that, you know, there are like glitter particles in this. I've never noticed it, but I don't spend a lot of time in natural light. I spend a lot of time indoors and a lot of times going from, you know, a building to my car and then my car into a building. I am not your outdoor kind of gal person. So it can be pretty aggressive, but I love this. Before I move on to bronzers, let me just tell you that one of my honorable mentions is a highlight. And it's a highlight from RMS. It's the Living Luminizer. And this is one of those products. This is my second jar of it. I love this so much because it is emollient. It is glowy. It is really light and it's perfect for my fair skin tone. And it really just brings light and glow to the face. There's a little bit of shimmer in here, but it's mostly the fact that this is a coconut-based product. It's coconut oil. It's glowy, it's dewy. It never really sets down, but on a day when I'm not working and I want a little bit of glow, but I don't want it to look like dry, like sometimes a powder can make it look, or I don't want it to look too blingy, like some of these more intense formulas. This is just enough and not too much, and it looks really, really pretty. So this is my one highlight that if I could have just one more, it would be this one. Everything in here comes from a different brand except for I have two from the same brand. I think that says a lot. All right, let me just tell you my favorite and the only cream bronzer product I have in here is from Cosmetics. This is their So Soft Multi-Use Face Play Stick, and this is the shade Terra. This is basically a cream bronzer. This shade is not really a bronzing shade. It's more of a, like a contour shade, but it blends with no effort. Like I just rub my finger over it and look how it goes to like almost nothing. It's got some warmth, but it has some coolness. You can swipe it on. If you're one of those people that likes to like make sure you're getting the right amount here on your temples, like the lines are even, you know, if you're placing it like me, like down here, you can do that. And then you can swipe it where you want and then take your time blending it with your fingers, with a brush, with a sponge, whatever makes your heart happy, because this will set eventually, but it's not going to set in like 20 seconds. That pretty soon you're going to have that really kind of stiff line, that indelible line that is setting on the edge of the product. You can still move the center out, but you have like this darker line around the edge of where you first swiped it in. This is the most beautiful and probably my favorite cream formula in my collection. They make blushes, they make bronzers, a variety of shades. I love this. I was this close to putting in one of their cream blushes into this, but I realized I like the other blushes a little bit more, but this formula is tippy top on my list of favorite formulas. But if you love a cream bronzer, you love a cream blush, has some gorgeous things in their So Soft line. But this is my favorite and the only cream product I have here, but I use this regularly. I have a lighter shade in a bronzing shade, but I have been using this a lot during the cooler months because I'm looking to shape out my face a little bit. I have, over the last almost 3 years, gained several pounds that I have not lost. I'm not continuing to gain, but I feel like I've lost some of that shape to my face. And as I get older, I got a little bit of this going on. And I feel like sometimes using a contour shade to help, and I don't know if it actually is like an optical illusion for anybody else, it just makes me feel better. But this is such an elegant and beautiful formula. I've been talking for a while and look, it still blends really beautifully and blends out to like easy, easy, easy. And then this kind of turns into almost like a powder. It's so gorgeous. If you have not tried these So Soft from so worth it. I have always loved Wayne Goss products. And when he started making face palettes, this Radiance Boosting Face Palette has become my most used powder bronzer formula. You have a bronzer here. I know she looks a little orange, but on the face it's stunning. And then you have a powder contour. And this is the shade called Light Gold. The bronzer's right here, the contour is here. I feel like they don't always swatch as well with fingers as they do when I'm using a brush, because I'm using a brush and this is perfect. I feel like it is just a hair cooler than this blended out, but this shade right here has a little bit of radiance to it. I don't feel like I'm getting radiance from the contour shade. I am getting radiance from the bronzing shade. And I was really worried when I looked at this. I'm like, oh my goodness, that looks like it's orange. It looks like it's gonna make me an Oompa Loompa, but on my fair skin, it gives me the right amount of warmth without being orange. And if I pair it with the contour shade, I get the most beautiful chiseled cheeks. And this is the one of the few products that I'm like, do I need blush? Did I get a little bit of like, you know, sculpting and a little bit of color diffused everywhere? You know, I think I'm good. I love this. Love, love, love. And this is one of those that I do have, like, I can tell I have divots in the pan, especially the bronzer. Anytime I'm like, favorite bronzer, this is the one. This is the one that I reach for. The last bronzer I have for you is one that I fell in love with. It's brand new for 2022, so it's not one that's been out for a while, but when I tried it, I was like, oh yeah, I get it. And remember, I have mature skin. I have texture. I have loss of collagen. I want to look bronzy, but I don't want to look like a 20-year-old who's been, you know, laying out. I want to look, you know, pretty and like I've got some color, but not to the point where it's like, oh, that's really harsh. And I always like just a hint of radiance to my products, which is why I fell in love with the Awesome Bronze from Beauty Pie. All right, so this is the lightest shade. This one is called Sunny Side, and here it is. I feel like Wayne's bronzer is the warmest and almost blushy leaning in tone. This is another one of those, because there is a little bit of radiance to this, not a lot. It has kind of like a satin look to it. It looks very skin-like. It blends with no effort. I love using kind of a big fluffy brush. My favorite brush to use, I happen to have a clean one right now, is the 05 from Rougher. I do have their big bronzing brush. I get a little out of hand with this, so I use this for finishing powder, but I do love the 22. But for me, bronzer, I need a more targeted area, and this number 5 brush is fantastic. One of my favorite things about this, look, you can refill this. You can keep the compact and get a refill of the product. The one thing I don't love is that the whole pan can move as I'm swatching it. I find I don't have that problem when I'm using a brush, but when I'm putting my finger in here and I'm kind of going around, the pan does spin a little bit. I wish the magnet was just a little bit stronger, but it's never so bad that it actually falls out. I never have that problem. I do love that they have nice magnetic packaging. It's kind of chunky. It's not too bad. I like this rose gold. I like everything about this. I just wish that the pan didn't spin when I was swatching it. But I have used this so much in 2022 and will probably continue to use it. It had a really nice imprint. I think it was like a leaf imprint. And you can see there's very little of mine left just around the edges because I've been going to town on this thing. This is fantastic. My last honorable mention is a bronzer. And this is one that when I tried it, I was so impressed. This is one of those products, affordable, it's drugstore, that if you were to put this product in different packaging, I would swear it was high-end. I would swear it was Charlotte Tilbury. I would swear it was luxury all the way. And it's this. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Bronzer. This is the lightest shade in 200 Fair. I swatched it right across the bottom. It has warmth, it has a little bit of deepness and contour, but it's not too orange. It's so pretty. I feel like the Wayne Goss ones are the ones that are the most undetectable. This one, if I don't put too much on and I blend it, you also can't tell all of a sudden I just have shape to my face. I feel like these two guys here bring a beautiful warmth to the skin. And of course, I'm not using them swatched this heavily, but you can see that they all have a little bit of radiance. This one is the most matte out of all of them, but this is perfection. And if you love a good bronze, but you don't want to pay through the nose, get one of these for, what is it, $10, $12 at the drugstore. So good. I would love to know if you are a cheek product aficionado, what are your favorite formulas? Do you prefer creams or liquids or powders? And then out of those, which are the ones that you know you can always go to and that will give you a perfectly flawless look every time? Let me know in the comment section. If you have special shades that you love the most, you reach for, let me know as well. The other thing I would love to know is if you happen to have more mature skin like I do, I'm approaching 50, what sorts of products are you looking for and what gives you the best youthful but you look? I don't want to look like I'm 25 anymore. I'm fine being almost 50. I just don't want to have what product I am using age me even more. So let me know your favorites from that perspective as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I will see you again soon.